Welcome on in to a quick training camp update. Mailbox Sports, your man Postman 1914, and we got a Bears update going on. So first off, we want to let you know that we are going to have a recording of audio from one Tom Thayer, voice of Bears Radio, along with Jeff Joniak. And Tom was a member of the 85 Bears, former offensive lineman, has a, what I would like to say, a deep understanding of the offensive line position. We're going to try to go into a breakdown that Tom has about a couple of players in particular, because I believe they were spoken about ad nauseum last night on a pod that I listened to that is Bear centric in regards to Luke Newman, Braxton Jones, and Ozzie Trapillo, as they like to say, Ozzie Trapillo. So we'll get into a couple other things as well as that, but let's go ahead, get a listen to that tape, or audio I should say, and we will try to find out what we can make of it.
It's also going to be great to see Ted Koppel out there for a very special event.
This is
Tom Thayer is
ESPN
brought to you
1000.
by Aurelio's Pizza. Yes, Aurelio's Pizza. Chicago's oldest pizza chain. Make Aurelio's Pizza part of your weekend plans. Aurelio Pizza, it's the sauce. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Jay Hood, David, good to talk to you guys as always. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
He joins us here on the Yingling Hotline. Cap, we should talk to Tommy about the way we opened up the show this morning.
Yeah, we talked about, obviously, Caleb Williams. We played some of his interview on NFL Network. We played some of the Montez Sweat on NFL Network yesterday, where he said, this is Sweat saying this, I've been hit more and had more tackling in this camp than I've had in the previous 7 years of my career. And Stacey Dales went, what? He's like, yeah. And he goes, and if you love football like I do, you love it. Why did it take a new coach to understand, hey, man, we're getting ready to get hit a lot for 17 games. Let's get physical out here. Why is this such a revelation in this city?
It's kind of where he came from. He was a part of the Detroit Lions with Dan Campbell as a former player who's lived with some hard-nosed head coaches throughout the course of training camp. And he understood what it took on a daily basis to change the culture, to change the toughness. You know, we sat here, you guys, over the last few years talking about trying to make this team more callous. They're making it more callous, and it's in the process. So you go to Sunday's practice at Soldier Field, they run 95 plays. You know, that's 30 more than you're going to get in a regular NFL game. And then the practice the day before yesterday, they run 75 plays. So Ben Johnson is not taking easy on anybody, but he's given everybody the opportunity to impress their position coaches, to show what they can do. No one's getting cheated on reps. And he's asking them to play the sport of football the way it's meant to be played, rather than going out there and having a quick whistle by an official, or, you know, trying not to make contact because this is training camp. And I really appreciate what Ben Johnson has done in this training camp, not only to leave his impression on the beginning of his head coaching career, but where this thing is hopefully going.
You know, we talked about reps in that first preseason game against the Dolphins, Tom. And so, you know, we talk about this every year, so my stance has not changed.
And by the way,
just
I know
think
we
that
didn't cut right
when you're a
into the
football
lineman
player
discussion,
and you
but
get tired of
I
hitting your
like
own
Tom's
teammates, you just
perspective
want to be
and
able to have some semblance
opinion
of,
about a few
hey,
things
my
in
body's
terms of the way
calloused,
he's
I'm
measured.
going to be out there
He
for a
kind of
few
thinks these
series.
things out.
What do you think is best for Ben Johnson his first year with this offense in this game against the Dolphins? Should the first team play?
I do think they should play, and I'm kind of, I do like the fact that there's joint practices, and I
agree.
do like the fact that it's going to be a lot of talent, a lot of stances, a lot of different things that you have not seen out of the Miami Dolphins yet. So it's going to be a great way to kind of judge where everybody is, specifically according to their position, their assignments, and all that against the Miami Dolphins. You know, Jay Hood, one thing about football is I think everybody that shows up to the locker room before a game, whether it's preseason or regular season, you have to have that uber serious approach about this is my day, this is my opportunity. And even when we played preseason games with Ditka, he never would tell you how many plays you were going to play. He just wanted you to be ready to play. And I do think if you're trying to create that tough guy culture inside of a locker room, it's everybody coming in to put their uniform on for a reason. And you're going to get a lot of people that are going to push back and say, oh, this is only the preseason. Yes, it is. But you're looking at a preseason unlike any others. You're trying to install an offense that still is confusing to a lot of these guys. In every rep that you can possibly get is beneficial to you. If you're going to go to a joint practice, there is going to be a whistle that is going to keep the quarterback safe and not let some of these big collisions happen. When you get into a game, the whistle concludes the play. And so there is going to be tackling. There is going to be hitting. You're going to be able to watch the fundamental development of maybe a young defensive lineman or a young offensive lineman or DB. So I'm kind of in the train of thought right now. I do think that everybody should come to the locker room to put their pads on for a purpose. And if you play a series or two, so be it.
I got to ask you a question. Jay Moore has a play call. Tyson Bagent was on Waddle and Sylvie. Great interview. Go to the ESPN app and listen on the podcast to it. But they asked him to call a play in the Bears offense. So I want to have Jay Moore play the play for you. And can you, I know you don't know the playbook because you're not playing anymore, but can you break it down for everybody, like what he's saying?
And after he breaks this down, then we can go ahead
do a screen to a screen,
and
right?
slide through. We're trying to get closer to his
home
offensive
to
line
gun
breakdown.
tipster right. F. Rikers kill Kobe Pineapple for man.
Kobe
Right?
Pineapple
So we're
for
going,
man.
Yeah, we're going gun. We're going home to gun tipster right. F. Rikers kill Kobe Pineapple. Hey, we're looking for man right here, Tyson. We're looking for man.
So what is that? When you hear that,
What is that, Tom?
to explain that
Well,
to
you know-
everybody.
You know, gun obviously is shotgun. So
Yep.
it's going to be a play that's going to be run out of gun. Then you're talking about the different catchphrases that each one of these guys are looking for according to their position. If you're going tipsters right, does that mean you're going to be strong right to start it and see how the defense balances up against it? If they go into what you assume they're going to be in, then you're going to stick with the first play. Then you get that kill word in there. Kill means everything after that is the second play I'm calling in case the defense is not in exactly what we predicted them to be in. And so every segment is just listening to their catchphrase. It's the quarterback that really has to understand what every single assignment is to the other 10 guys in the huddle for two plays. And that's why it is so confusing. That's why it's so time-consuming to understand this terminology. And, you know, one thing about that play he just called, that's really not that complicated of terminology. You go back and you look at some of the offenses that some of the NFL head coaches, the whiz kids have installed. It's so long and it's so confusing that some guys are lost by the time he says kill in the next play. And then you got to listen to the snap count and go to the line of scrimmage, and you got 1,000 different variations are going through your head if you got a three-technique defensive tackle or you're an odd-man defense. And so the process of learning is continuous throughout a long period of time.
That play call is why Chris Sims is an analyst now.
Yeah, exactly.
You saw that with Gruden, right?
Yeah.
All
He
right.
was just
To develop the terminology quicker that you needed to run over a period of time. And then all of a sudden you get a guy that's been around the football, played quarterback at Dayton, and then starts developing this language that, to me, sometimes it's a detriment to the development of some. Yeah, now he is going to be in competition against Ryan Bates and you know, a couple of others. I think that he can help this football team in the depth
Sorry,
concern
guys. Give me a
both
minute.
right-handed stance and the left-handed stance, but he's got to become fine to tell McMahon to play.
So what does your eyes tell you about the depth chart of the offensive line? I think we know the starters, but give us an update on what you've seen from the Newmans, the Trapillos, Ryan Bates, guys like that down the line.
First of all, Luke Newman, I'm glad you brought him up, Jay Hood, because he's a guy that was drafted out of Michigan State, and he's got a lot of interior responsibility. He's very comfortable at guard, both right-handed stance and the left-handed stance, but he's got to become more consistent snapping the ball, whether it's shotgun or directly under center. He's a block of a guy. He's super powerful. He's got great leverage. And I really do think that he can help this football team in the depth concerns when you can play all three interior positions. Yeah, now he is going to be in competition against Ryan Bates and a couple of other guys here, Kramer. But I think Luke Newman, they might have got a guy that they can really develop and turn into that important interior backup for the time being. And then when I look at the left tackle position, I'm disappointed that Karan Amagaji isn't in there battling, but I like what I've seen out of Ozzie Trapillo. It's two different styles of play. He's a big, physical, powerful guy, and you can see his bloodlines and his traits to become a really solid NFL offensive lineman. I still don't know where it's going to be, right or left-hand side, and then you have to give the experience to Braxton Jones. He's been here for a number of seasons. He kind of has a better understanding of how to play at an NFL level. The one thing about Ozzie Trapillo, the better he learns the system, the better he's going to learn exactly every time he goes to the line of scrimmage, where is my help and how do I keep myself out of the most vulnerable of positions? And the more you can learn that, whether it's help from my guard to my right, help from my tight end to my left, maybe a back behind me, cut my split down a little bit, not to give the defensive lineman a two-way go. And those are the types of little things that really aren't coached on a regular basis. They're more learned over a period of time. I don't think that Ozzie is a failed experiment by any means. I know the difficulty of going from right to left, but I love the competition, and the dude is a legitimate, everyday football player, and I think that's most important when you're trying to turn him into an NFL-caliber lineman.
Tom, thanks for everything. You're the best. As we let you go, just give me an answer this way.
All right. So that was Tom Thayer's breakdown on Luke Newman and the depth of the offensive line. And when he spoke of depth, he spoke of Luke Newman being able to play all three interior positions, working on snapping and balance was something that he spoke of in terms of improvements. But he did allude to the fact that he can play all three, so he does have some positional versatility. And he's a block of a man, as he said. So pretty hard to move off of his spot. Also, when he mentioned depth, before he spoke of the tackle competition, he mentioned Ozzie Trapillo first. And he mentioned Ozzie in the way in which he said that Ozzie needs to continue to learn the system, and most importantly, learn how to avoid being put in negative situations. I believe personally that would indicate more so that it leans towards my theory. I know Braxton was number one on the depth chart, and that may be a perfunctory type of thing just to pay homage and give deference to the veterans in certain positions that might be up for grabs. I do believe it is more so incumbent upon. I won't even say incumbent upon him. It's important that the front office and the team collectively be ensured for depth this year. So while the pod that I listened to last night, and forgive me for not being able to pull it out of the back of my mind so that I can give those guys some homage and have you go subscribe to the page, I will look that up for you while we go through the course of our dialogue. Nonetheless, it's the Nomad Network, to be exact, so you can go over and hit that subscribe button if you want. They spoke to Braxton being the depth piece and being the swing tackle per se. I think otherwise, as Braxton has never played right tackle in the league or ever, I don't believe, and I don't think he will go to that position. I do think, however, that Ozzie will have this year to, if all things bode well, Braxton will have a improved performance, and he is already ranked 22nd amongst left tackles on PFF, but he can improve that alongside Joe Tooney. I do think that Ozzie will be given the opportunity to not redshirt a year, but have a limited playing time and be able to understand and learn the system in the way in which Tom spoke of, and that will give us some flexibility next year, whether it be in something that may be unorthodox like a sign and trade of Braxton or receiving a conditional / compensatory draft pick for the monies that he may accrue in free agency. Last but not least, we do want to speak to the fact that Jalen Johnson, while Ben Johnson spoke that he would be hopeful that he can see Jalen for week 1, there has been some speculation that Jalen could possibly end up on the PUP list and miss the first 4 games of the season. But the speculation is that the first few weeks may be actually out of his purview in terms of playing, and so they may have to change the designation from the NFI to the PUP list. Stay tuned for that. Join me Sunday for post-game analysis to try to glean some things from what we assume we saw in the preseason game against the Miami Dolphins. Also, join me for some pregame so we can discuss any things that we may have heard about the practice session that will take place on Friday and what we expect and hope to see from all units, be it the first unit in terms of playing time, so on and so forth, and what we want to see out of those depth pieces as we continue to break down who may make the 53-man roster. Like, share, and subscribe to the page. Other than that, like I said, we're going to keep trying to unpeel this onion of an offensive line and all other positions that are up for grabs when we speak of the Chicago Bears and the 53-man roster. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're here. Hope you like to hear my voice, because I hope you hear it a lot more often. Be that as it may, have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And stay tuned to the page Mailbox Sports for all shorts, videos, and live stream content Sundays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. Hit that click button, hit that notification. We will talk to you later. And we are moving on.